Go ahead.
These are the tools we use to do our injectors. Just a pipe wrench, small sledgehammer, flathead screwdriver, a metal bar about ½ inch. Close to it. This is used to set the valve. All it is a 75 136 with a hole drilled straight through the center, so you can take the screwdriver in. That's all it is. Got a 7/8 wrench. Got gasket compound, Loctite 567, Loctite anti-seize, copper base, and then lapping compound.
This is a wrench to disassemble the unit and assemble it. Okay. We're now going to build an injector for you.
Take your copper base anti-seize right on here. Don't need to use too much. This stuff goes a long ways. All you need to do is snug this. It doesn't have to be extremely tight. You have to be careful because you will strip it out if you're not. And you want to get your O-ring. This is very important. If you forget the O-ring, the unit will not run at all. O-ring compound. Just a nice thin layer on there. That's all you need.
That's the combining tube with an O-ring. Both the combining tube and the O-ring are sold as separate replacement parts. So don't just buy the combining tube.
Yeah, these are 3 pieces. You got the O-ring, combining tube, and then this. You have to buy them as 3 separate pieces when you go to rebuild your own. And then we always put, when we put the body in the vise, we always put a note on here to make sure we don't hurt the threads.
This is the 75-607 body. That 75-607 is marked on the outside of the body. Don't let that confuse you if somebody asks you for the capacity of the injector. That is not the part number of the complete unit.
Lapping compound goes right here on this edge. The only thing you're doing is making sure that this has a good seat down inside of here. Right here on this edge. Right there.
That is the only moving part in a steam injector. When it's under pressure, it floats up and down.
This is a 75 136, like I said, with just a hole drilled down in the center. I'm going to show you how that's used. Screw it down right in there like that, finger tight, doesn't have to be tight. And in the top of that valve, there's a slot in it for a flathead screwdriver. Can you get it? Just like you're rubbing your hands together. Rotate, stop and rotate a 1/4 of a turn every 1 to 2 seconds. And then counterclockwise 3 turns. And you get a nice little seat. Take off your lapping compound. Clean it up a little bit.
The idea there is to make sure that it has a flat surface and it will seat itself and it raises and lowers under the steam pressure.
Yeah. On this, you want to use your copper base anti-seize. Make sure you get it nice and tight. Next is your combining tube. Again, copper-based anti-seize. Make sure you line up the O-ring. You'll feel it hit. Move it around a little bit until you get the slide right in. Try not to tighten the injector too tight at first, because what you could do is you could crush the body and not allow your combining tube to go in, and then you're out of body. So just be very cautious of that. Don't tighten it down until you get this in case you do warp it. Next thing we're going to use our T-wrench. Copper-based anti-seize. 75, 1, 2, 3. That's on there just like that. My bent piece of metal here. All this is a piece of bar stock that I'm using that I just cut down. That's all it is, nothing special.
Now he's taking out the wrench, and the part's secured into the combining tube and inside the body.
Now on the 75 131, you want to use your 567 Loctite, and I usually just put a nice bead towards the top threads.
This is also known as the steam nozzle. This will be where the steam comes into the unit.
And right there, that way as you screw it in, it gets on all the threads. Get you a nice good seal.
And solvent tube.
Tight. 90-120.
This is our detergent control valve, which if you want to use chemicals by opening up the handle or the valve, you can siphon in detergent for cleaning. If you don't want it, just turn the valve off, the valve handle. Basically what you're going to do is take detergent, cold water, steam, and through the set of Venturas of the combining delivery and steam nozzle, end up with a high pressure discharge for cleaning.
And there you go, all done.
That's what an injector would look like. What you've got is your water line down here coming in, your steam line up here. You have your discharges at this end here, which is where you'll have your hose and your lance attached to them in a minute. And then the bottom here is what we call the overflow.
Yeah,
that overflow is critical. That has to be open to atmosphere. You cannot put a closed pipe on that. What you need to do, you can screw into a pipe if you want, but it has to be open to atmosphere.
You have to be able to run
a drain.
it into a drain. Ready for me to hook it up?
Yep. What you're looking at here is the B1000, which is set up for the water. We'll be turning this on. Always turn the water on first. This is the steam, then we'll put that on. And this is your discharge. Notice how it's open to our drain here for testing. What you'll see initially is some water will trickle out the overflow, and then as we get the lance with the right back pressure on it, this should basically come to a drip or no leakage whatsoever. On this end here, what we're going to be doing is we will be attaching our hose, which is Cellar wire braid hose, reinforced. It'll have spring protectors, swivel connections, and so on. And then at the end of that, we're going to have what we have different types of lances, but I'll show you a compact deadman lance in a second. Here's the hose being attached with a swivel. Notice that we have a spring cover to protect the ends in case of crimping and so on, and it does have a swivel connection. We have yellow wire braid hose in 25, 50, 75, and 100 foot lengths. At the other end, what he's doing now is he's just attached, this is our compact shutoff lance, auto shutoff lance. The only way we sell any of our lances is with a trigger. Some of them are smaller guns, like hand triggers, and this here, which is the lever. When you operate it, you always start an injector. You always have to open this lance up, and it creates a back pressure. And in the end of the lance, which is critical on a complete assembly, you'll see that there's a disc here. This one happens to be a 1 to 5 hole disc, which is sized for a B1000 injector. Without this in it, you will not be able to create the back pressure in the unit to get the jet to balance and to give you the high pressure discharge. Your discharge is basically going to be 2 1/3 times your input steam pressure will be your pressure coming out, and you'll have a 110-degree temperature rise over the input water temperature. So you can very easily get 180 to 200 psi and 180 degrees plus for sanitary cleaning. This is our test tank, or not test tank, a tent. Testing for the steam injectors. You notice the water coming out here. We've opened up the water and then the steam, and then you throttle back on the water, and you can see the pressure that comes out now. And there is a full jet, and nothing coming out the discharge. Okay, now dump it. Oh, let it go. Notice how, for safety aspect, he's let go of the trigger. You get a little tired. Everything comes out the overflow. Now open it up again. Notice how it's completely balanced again, and you're back to cleaning with the impact that you need.